Real Estate Guru TV, your personal real estate resource. Now, your host, Sean T. Shallis, your personal real estate guru.
Hi there, Sean Shallis, Real Estate Guru TV. So today's topic is about sellers lose thousands daily with area experts, even worse. When you hear the words, my agent is my family member, friend, or really good friend. The reality is, your area expert, they're really good tour guide, or are they sales and marketing expert like ourselves? I'm selling a home. I'm not looking to find out where to get the best sandwich or all those other interesting things about the community. What's funny is most buyers that are coming out to see your home, they're going to know that community better than most of the sellers out there, and even me as the area expert, or what I'm going to call the area experts. Me personally, I don't consider myself any area expert. What I do consider myself is an expert in the sales of marketing and selling homes. And in that being said, I'm not saying I'm an expert in selling homes in New Jersey or New York. I'm confident that if you pick me up and you put me in the middle of Las Vegas with a phone book and a phone, I can sell homes. As long as I have the data to be able to research the home sales, what's going on, and then apply very specific marketing and sales techniques to sell that home, we would be able to dominate a market. And quite honestly, we've done that. And what do you mean, Sean, you've done that? Well, over the past 18 months, my assistant Anthony and I have spent basically transitioning our business from the urban community to the urban and also the suburban markets. So we're now covering what's called the Midtown Direct Train Line, which is predominantly 4 counties and probably a 40-mile radius of northern New Jersey and the commute into Manhattan. People say, well, when we first started doing this, even our senior management said, Sean, we have agents that can't do one market, and they're the area experts. What would lead you to believe that you can do multiple markets and be successful at it? And I said, challenge number one is that people consider realtors for years to be the area experts. I'm hiring a sales and marketing expert to sell my home. I'm not hiring a tour guide. If I want a tour guide, I'll go to New York and I'll get on the Circle Line and get a ticket. And let the guy tell me where all the great things is. The challenge is that most people are conditioned to believe that because that person knows the area real well, it's going to make it easier to sell the home. And true, it will help. But what's interesting is with the advent of the internet, most buyers coming in the door know more about that house, that community, and that area than I'll ever know. Because they've been studying it because they're looking to move into that particular community. What I do study, though, is that I spend hours and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars is training myself on learning how to sell to different types of people, different types of situations, how to negotiate the highest possible price for my sellers. And what do I mean by that is, what has to happen is most agents don't realize, football players, for example, they spend 40 to 60 hours training themselves for 45 minutes on the field. Most realtors, how are they training themselves? They're driving through the neighborhoods in their car, learning about where the deli is, where the church is, where the temple is, where the pool is. Then they tell you, when they meet with you, that I know this community like the back of my hand. Well, that's interesting. But what actually happens when it's game time? Do they know where the seat is in the stadium? Or can they get on the field and actually execute the play from the playbook? And what I mean by that is that may be a little sketchy of an analogy, but when you're playing with tens of thousands of dollars of people's hard-earned money, and they're trying to sell their home in a down economy, and you come out and you say, hey, I know where to go and get the best sandwich, that's great. When I show up, I'm coming in saying, you know what, Mr. Jones, we've successfully negotiated 47 transactions in 6 months, and that's actually accurate. 47 transactions in 6 months. We do more in a week than most people do in their entire year right now in today's economy. What's interesting is I'm operating 7 to 10 times to get back to doing 4 or 5 transactions. To do 5 transactions, I got to negotiate 7 to 10 different deals in order to get one to stick together. What's ironic is that means that I am operating or practicing my craft continually on a continual basis. I'm not sitting back waiting and hoping that somebody's going to ask me to have a tour of the community that I know so well. What I want somebody to do is ask me to come in and say, Sean, help me to forecast the price of my home. Tell me what it's going to really sell for, and give my wife and I a level of comfort that you actually can tell us how much my property is going to sell for and what amount of time and what is it going to take to get it done. Everybody knows their property is worth less than it was 2 to 3 years ago. In some cases they went up. Very few cases have I've ever seen in the past 2 years that people are actually making money on the acquisition that they made. In most cases, I come in and I'm talking to people about, I'm trying to make it exciting to say, Mr. Jones, I got great news for you. You're going to lose about $100,000, but we're going to get your home sold. You know what's ironic about that, though? After you've been in the market for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years with the area expert, and you've watched your price go down from $650,000 to $450,000 over a 2-year window, knowing how much money you've paid out in expenses, and knowing that as your property, as you were trying to catch the market and you were coming down on the price, all you were doing was chasing the market down. And the agent or the area expert or the family friend wasn't able to either, one, have a heart-to-heart conversation, what I call the come to Jesus meeting with you, and have a heart-to-heart conversation, and or they didn't know what the answer was in order to have the conversation with you, because as I said, they're the area expert, but they're not a sales and marketing expert, and they don't know how to forecast the market other than looking at 60 days of past sales. The problem is, in many markets, looking back 60, 90, 120 days, 180 days even, there are a lot of many cases, there is no transactions that have taken place in that period of time. So you have to use different strategies in order to come up with a value that is accurate and is going to drive traffic through the door and ultimately get the home sold. Now, what makes you the genius, Sean? You know what? I was very lucky that when I got involved with real estate, I was on the construction side and I didn't have a formal education, so I was scared to death that I wanted to make sure that I could learn as much as I possibly could so I could hang out with my friends that did have formal educations and made a lot of money. Thank God I was very driven to go search out and find some of the best mentors in the country in real estate. I've worked with guys like Mike Ferry, who's by far one of the best real estate trainers in the country. I've worked with Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar. Yeah, the list goes on, Bob Proctor. Many of these people, I've actually paid them tens of thousands of dollars for 2 or 3 weeks of their time to personally mentor me and teach me how to negotiate, how to learn how to communicate with people, how to do what's called neuro-linguistic programming and find out what makes people tick, and how to drive them to a decision or lead them to a decision in a positive way. Now, people say, well, isn't that like kind of like, little sketchy? You're trying to use your mental capacity, your sales training to get somebody to make a decision? Well, yes, in many cases, making a decision on buying a home is not easy. In many cases, one of the biggest transactions that somebody's actually going to make. So what my job is to give the seller a level of comfort that if he sells his home today in this economy, that more than likely that house is not going to skyrocket in value over the next year, year and a half, or 2 years, that he could have waited and maybe captured that money. What about the buyer, Sean? Well, why, if the property is still going down, why would we go and buy? Well, what's ironic is we have to be able to educate the buyer that interest rates are as low as they've ever been in 15 years, 30 years, actually probably closer to 30 years. Right now, you can get an adjustable rate mortgage, a 3 to 5 year adjustable rate mortgage, between 3 and 4%. The United States government is basically giving money away for people that are buying a home. The other thing is that what most people don't realize, and most people that are renting that are saying, I'm going to time the market. Timing the market is a farce. If you could time the market, you could quit your day job and you could work on Wall Street and become, basically you're gambling. Warren Buffett said it best. When you're investing, you're not gambling. You're betting on things that are duplicatable, repeatable, and trackable. When you hire me, I give you duplicatable, trackable results that have helped us sell 500 to 700 homes. Well, give me an example. In my community, where I live, okay, I've been selling homes in this community for 15 years. I've worked in this community 20 years ago in the construction of the community when I was on the other side of the business in construction. What's ironic is I don't consider myself the area expert. I consider myself a highly skilled sales and marketing expert of real estate. The area experts had the property listed for over a year. Sadly enough, that property did not go under contract or sell. We took over the listing 5 days ago. It's what prompted this video. It's actually very frustrating and very depressing to think that a property that we put in the market, in 5 days we found a qualified buyer ready to buy the home at a fair market value price. You want to find out more about why you should hire a sales and marketing expert versus the area expert, my family friend, my brother, sister, cousin. You want to do those guys a favor? Hire them. You want to get your home sold? Call me or my team immediately and find out why you should be hiring me. We've sold homes in Hudson County, Essex County, Morris County, Union County, Middlesex County. That's just in the past 6 months. What's ironic about those communities? They're tremendously different. They're from high rises to low rises to condos to farms. What's funny is what doesn't change is you don't have to be an area expert in real estate. What you have to be is a sales and marketing expert. We are that person. We're selling more homes in a year than most people are selling their entire career. Hire me today to sell your home, and I will show you and prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt that the area expert has nothing to do with getting your home sold, and it's got everything to do with taking them on a tour of the community. You want to do that, I'll buy you the ticket for the Circle Line, but please consider hiring us when you're selling your home. Thank you. We appreciate your time.